and allow you to see the Tennessee-Georgia line. So we're just leaving Chattanooga, headed back to North Fulton County. My man Harry asked a question. He said, hey Josh, you got a 401k. I want to tap into it before I reach 59 and a half so I don't have to make payments. If I start a new job, does that affect anything? The answer is I don't believe so, Harry. I don't believe so, because your 401k from your previous employer, as long as you separate from service after the age of 54, you can certainly get another job without question, because you did separate from service. It's not like the IRS says, oh, you got another job, we're going to tax you or give you a 10% penalty on your previous 401k. You just want to leave that previous 401k alone, leave it with the old plan. And now that you separate from service 55 or beyond, you have access to it without the 10% penalty. So, yeah, man, go ahead and get a new job. Just don't roll over your old 401k into the new one, because that would violate that, because you're now working at that new company for sure. All right? So that leads me to another point, actually. I always want to talk about this. One of the reasons why you should roll over a previous 401k into your new employer's 401k, or I was talking to a guy the other day who does my termite inspection. He says, hey, should I roll over my IRA? I got $16,000, and I gave him a copy of my book. He said, should I roll over my IRA to my 401k? And I said, yes, you should. He goes, why? I said, well, here's why. Because when you separate from service after the age of 54 from this current company, the money that you have in the 401k you can access without penalty. And now he misunderstood me at first. He goes, oh man, I don't have to pay tax on it. I said, no, we got to pay tax on it, but it's without penalty. And that's a big deal. So basically from 55, 56, 57, 58, 59 and a half, you have access to it with paying the income tax on it, just not the penalty. And so he said, oh man, I didn't know that. And I think he was dealing with a guy, I forgot who he said he was dealing with. He goes, how come my other guy never told me that? There's a lot of people actually aren't familiar with that, actually. And, I'm not bashing people, but just goes to show you, my friends, no one cares more about your money than you. So you got to know some of these tricks of the trade, rules and regulations of the road, so to speak, or else you could be putting yourself into a position of paying more than you need to, taxes, fees, and whatnot. So anyway, so let's just say I'm 53. I'm working for a termite inspection company or whatever, termite inspection company. And, I plan on working there for a couple more years, but that's it. Should I roll over my old IRA into my firm's company 401k plan? The answer to that is unequivocal. Dude, why did you get in front of me if you're going slow? The answer to that is unequivocally, yes, you should. And the reason, again, is so that you have access to it. Should you leave that 401k, should you leave your company after the age of 54, you'll have access to it without penalty. I don't get why people get over to the left lane and then they go slower than the guy they were behind. That's real good driving there. Anyway, this guy's got, where is he from? Florida. Good times, buddy. Good times. Josh, why are you driving with the video on? I'm not looking at it. It's not looking at me. I'm just showing you the road. Josh, I don't want to be driving next to you. So you're telling me you're not on the car? You're not on your phone while you're driving? Huh? Gotcha. I guarantee you are on the phone while you are driving, and thus because of that, even if it's hands-free too, by the way, because you're on the phone, you're just as dangerous as I am with the car. The only thing that's dangerous about me is behind this clown. Oh, he's got the same kind of car I do too. Why do you even bother getting over, man? Nuts. I don't get all crazy road rage. I don't stare down people. That's just dumb. But just if you're not going to go faster than the people in front of you, why do you get in the left lane? Crazy. All right, so some other questions I had. This guy asked, and I forgot who it was, Anthony, I forgot. But anyway, he said, hey, Josh, I plan on doing some Roth conversions when I separate from service. Should I go ahead and do Roth conversions to each individual, separate Roth IRA? Or should I do it to individual ones because each conversion has its own 5-year rule? And that's a good question. That is one that, look, it's been a while. It's been over a year since I dived into this too deeply. But the last I understood, look at that. Isn't that just gorgeous, my friends? Oh, yeah. Tennessee, North Georgia. Now, this isn't even there's some beautiful parts of North Georgia. We're just passing through some of it. But, man, like where my man Fritz is up, he's up this way. This neck was in Blairsville. No, he's in Blue Ridge. Look at that. Now, my friends from Texas, they don't like it because they feel all these trees. It's very claustrophobic. They don't like having all these trees like that. They like the ability to be able to see for miles and miles and miles. I can see for miles and miles. I can see for miles and miles. I can see for miles and miles and miles and miles. Oh yeah! Who sings that song? Now it's starting to rain. When you're in the south, every afternoon you get some rain. Right now it's 3:40 right now. So y'all, when you're in the south in the summertime, you always get that afternoon storm clouds for sure. All right. So the issue is, and I forgot, I think it was Anthony, but I don't recall off the top of my head. Should he roll over when he does conversion to individual Roth IRAs or just to consolidate into one? At the end of the day, I don't think it matters. In terms of simplicity, is it easier for you to have Roth 1, Roth 2, Roth 3, Roth 4? If it is, then yeah, by all means, roll them into individual Roth IRAs. That way you know after 5 years it's free and clear. If it's not easier for you to maintain all those accounts, then put them into one. Just remember which one you rolled over was 5 years ago and which one is not. So in my opinion, it's probably easier to have individual accounts. One of the benefits actually of the old, one of the things that the TCJA got rid of, which is too bad. I'm going to take a sip of my coffee for a second. We just went to some Mexican place up in Chattanooga. We had chimichangas. I had a chimi fiesta. That's like a quarter chimi probably. Steak, quarter chicken, and a quarter shrimp. Man, that quarter shrimp was pretty good. I didn't expect it to be that good. Normally I just go straight to the steak. Beef is what for dinner, but man, that was good. I share the story, so I tell my man who I went to go visit with. Just such nice people. You know, in this line of business, man, if you don't like people, you're going to have a hard time succeeding. You just got to like people. That number one thing about being in this line of business, you just got to be interested in people, not be interested. Everyone has a story, and you've got to be eager to understand that story. And I can't stress this enough. If you can't make it, fake it, or fake it till you make it. Because what will happen is, even if you're not that interested, by making yourself interested, you will become eventually interested. I'm telling you, when I first started, back in 25 years, I've always been interested in people, to be perfectly honest with you. But I've always found it fascinating. Where did you come from? How did you get here? But I know some people aren't. They're just like, I just don't care. Well, you fake it till you make it, if that's you. And what I mean by that is, you find out about that person, and eventually you'll develop that muscle mass or whatever, where you're going to ask the right questions, and you will find yourself interested in what they have to say eventually. I'm just telling you, you will. Because you're building your muscle. You're building your muscle. Whenever you're building your muscle and you're working it, you're going to strengthen it. And the more you strengthen it, the stronger it's going to get. That, in this case, that means the more you're going to want to learn more from people. And eventually it'll just be, just nature. Naturally, you'll say, tell me about yourself. And people don't like you. So people like two things. They like to hear their voice, or their name, excuse me. They like to hear their name. And number two is they like to tell their story, because everyone has a story. Trust me. Think about it. Would you rather listen to somebody else's story or tell yours? Now, some people actually do would rather listen to other people's story. I get that. I'm like that. I like listening to other people's story. But when they ask me mine, I'm excited to tell them. It's fun, because I have a unique story. And guess what, my friends? You do too. Your story is very, very unique. How do I know? Because no one else is like you on this earth. There's no other Josh Scanlon. Or if your name's Joe Smith, there's no other Joe Smith on this earth. But there's tons of Joe Smiths, Josh. Not you, my friend. Not you. You're the only one out there. Always remember that. All right, so going back to the what we're saying about the Roth. Yeah, so was that what we're talking about? Yeah, the Roth. I would do the separate ones just for simplicity. So you got Roth. I don't know. You can say 2000. You can title it. Just rename the account. There's Dalton State University. Oh, that's what I'm gonna tell you. Anyway, that's what I was gonna say. So. Never heard of Dalton State University. I guess it's a school up here in Dalton, North Georgia. All right, so you got Roth. Let's see, today's 2019. You know the Roth, you need to wait till 2025 for this one. If you convert, it becomes free and clear of any taxes and or penalties. So what you want to do is you title this one Roth 2025. You can say it like that. Then the one you do next year, Roth 2026, and so on and so on. And then once they start, the years start falling off, you just consolidate them. No big deal. All right, so let me tell you my story about, what was I going to talk about? Oh, chimichangas. So when I got out of the Army, I think it was like the day or the next day after I got out, my dad took me to this place in Arlington, Virginia, right down by Old Boston Mall. I guess it's not old anymore, but it's down that way. One second, drink a cup of coffee. Ooh, that's hot. And we went to this place to get we get some Mexican food. And I got a chimichanga. I never had a chimichanga. And if I recall right, now this is back in 1992. This is a long time ago. If I recall right, my dad, I didn't even know what chimichanga was. Never heard of it. He goes, "Oh man, you'll love these. These are awesome." I said, "All right, I'll go with it." I never heard of one. I never had one. I wasn't expecting much because this place was, a hole in the wall. I was like, yeah, this place is kind of nasty. But dude, it was God's chosen food. It was insanely good. And out there, it was, oh man, I swear they must have laced that with like cocaine or something like that. Because after I ate that, I was at the best. It was just the best food I've ever had in my life. It was so flipping good. So about a week goes by. I said, man, I gotta go down there and get me another one of them chimichangas. And I go down there and I couldn't find the place. I was like despondent. So I go around again. I'm looking around and finally I realized it closed. It became a used car dealership. And I was like, no. So my task in life has been to find the chimichanga like that one. And I haven't been able to find it. So every place I go, I try to get me a chimichanga. And I tell you, man, I haven't found anything like that. Now, there might be the surprise of how good it was might be what made that one taste so good. So let me tell you what I'm talking about. So you ever like plan like a New Year's Eve party? You're like, oh, this will be the best party ever, or, all that stuff. And it's always kind of like, yeah, it wasn't all that good. But the best parties are impromptu. I remember high school, we'd plan all these parties and stuff, and they were okay. But the best parties we're all just gathering on a field, drinking beers and having fun. By far and away, those are the best parties. Anyway, the point about that is when you're taken by surprise, when your expectations are not set very high, that's when you got the best food and times because you just weren't expecting much. And when that happens, you're like, oh man, you're then in hog heaven. And that's exactly what happened to me. Maybe with that chimichanga, but I'll never forget that. Oh, and I've been on a mission from God to find the best chimichanga, and I can't find it, man. This one's pretty good though up here. I'm not gonna lie to you. This one's pretty good. So if you're ever in Georgia, North Georgia, in Forsyth County, or Forsyth County, I think is how they call it here, Forsyth, there's a place called Cinco's. Cinco's a Mexican grill or something like that. Man, they got pretty good chimis, that's for sure. It's a nice restaurant. We used to live in Dayton, Virginia, and there is El Casito, or El Casita, I think, in that. So basically in Dayton, Virginia, it's a small Mennonite town and farming area. So Rockingham County is a poultry capital of Virginia. And in Rockingham County, we had a Tyson's, was a cargo plant. So what happens, guys, you got farmers. You got two groups of farmers. You got dairy farmers, and you got turkey and or chicken farmers. Dairy farmers, I don't know what's going on now, but they ebbs and flows. So dairy farmers for a long time were living large, where the poultry plant guys were getting killed because they just couldn't make enough to keep it by. And I remember I had a bunch of farmers that were trying to establish their buildings for the turkeys, to grow their turkeys in the buildings. They're having a hard time getting by. It was tough. But anyway, so we had this poultry plant called Cargill in Dayton. And it was right down the street. So basically Dayton's this tiny little town, probably 800 people, no stop, I guess a one stoplight. And then Cargill was like on the other side of the highway, the interstate there. It wasn't interstate, the other side of the highway to take you to Bridgewater, Route 42. And you could smell Cargill. So the thing about Dayton that always had its notoriety was had a smell because of turkey plant. And so we lived up on the hill, and so essentially Cargill's at the bottom of the hill, and as you're going into town, you start going up the hill where most people live. But down, kind of like the downtown, so to speak, is not up the hill. It's kind of just across 42. It's kind of like the downtown. So the post office was. That's where they had a store. I remember I had an Indian guy who owned the store there, and I always thought that was pretty cool. I mean, you got in a Shenandoah Valley, a Mennonite place, you had this Indian guy who owned the store. That was pretty cool. Not like an American Indian, but an Indian, and that was pretty cool. But anyway, long story short, there's this place called La Casita, and that was a local Mexican dive, and it's literally a dive where they used to feed the poultry workers, because they're all Spanish, Latin American, Mexican, for sure. And so that's a good friend of mine. He was Mexican national, and he worked there in HR because he could speak Spanish. And so they had him in HR because he would always be the guy, recruit people to work in the poultry plant to cut the heads off turkeys and whatnot. And his wife was Mexican too, but they're affluent Mexicans, American but from Mexican descent. Nicest people in the world. And I remember, she had cooked us an authentic Mexican food one time, and I was like, dude, this doesn't taste like the Mexican I like. She goes, yeah, you know why? Because we don't use sour cream. We use real cream. I said, oh yeah. She goes, what you like is Tex-Mex. You don't like Mexican, you like Tex-Mex. I said, yeah, probably right. So I think chimichangas are actually a Tex-Mex. Anyway, so back to the story here. I'm just yapping, I know it, right? It's old fun watching the road while I'm listening to Josh going down 75. Well, anyway, so we'd go to, now we had no money, my wife and I, to be perfectly honest with you, given how gorgeous my wife is, how smart she is, she could have, man, my goodness, why she would have kept up with me when I wasn't providing. I was trying, I was working hard, I wasn't making ends meet. We're basically getting by, but we weren't, we're adding to the debt. We had a home equity line of credit. It was tough. She could have had anybody, some rich, fancy guy. She could have been a gold digger or whatever, but she stuck it out with the old buddy Josh, and I'm blessed, truly blessed for that. But anyway, so whenever we felt on a Friday, every now and again, when we felt like splurging, we'd go down to La Casita. It's truly a Mexican dive. I don't even know if it's Mexican, but it's a Mexican food. But I'm not even sure if the owners were Mexican or if they're Guatemalan or something like that. We go down there and get burritos. I don't think they had chimichangas, but they did have fresh-made chips and salsa. And it's just the chips are fresh, just off however they cooked them, and it was awesome. And it was just, but we knew we were splurging. We didn't have any. You're buying a burrito. We're basically feeding the family for $20, and we're like, that was a challenge, that's for sure. I'll never forget that. That was only 2004, 2003, and 4. We had no money, man. We had a mortgage. Even back then, our mortgage was $750 a month. It wasn't that bad. We had a home equity line of credit, maybe $250 a month. We had, I think we still had student loans at that point. I can't remember. We had credit cards. We had done the 0% financing because I've always kept my credit good. So we had 0% financing on credit cards. But the cash flow just wasn't there. We were making, I think that year, 2007, we made $32,000 for a family of 4 with a mortgage. So $32,000, you divide that's what, it's $2,500 a month. We got mortgage and all that. Our debt was $1,500, maybe not $1,200 a month. So basically our debt alone was half of that. And then on top of that, you got utility bills. We had, we had kids, food. It's tough, man. It's tough. And anyway, so we just go down to La Casita, once in a while. I actually worked part-time. I took a job in RR Donnelly, which is binding books in a manufacturing plant, binding books. I'll never forget. I was a branch manager at that point. I guess this was 2003. I think I was making $35,000 as a branch manager. It's 2007 where I got off salary for my stockbroker job, and I was just on commissions only. And so that's why I was only making $32,000. But in 2003, when we had our second, I was a branch manager at a bank, and I was making, I think, 38, 35, something like that, thousand a year. And I remember we weren't getting by because we had, I can't remember. Oh, car loan. We had a car loan too. That's right. Maybe even 2. I can't remember. But anyway, we had no money. Just no money. And so I went and worked at night from like 8 to. It wasn't the third shift. His third shift goes from. Was that 8 to 4 or something like that? Yeah, I think so. I forget. Anyway, it wasn't the third shift. It was like half the third shift. So I think I got there maybe 6 to 10, maybe is what it was. At RR Donnelly, just on a conveyor belt, just binding books, for $10 an hour. And I'll never forget my boss, because I was a branch manager at the bank. He goes, dude, I don't want you doing this, man. It makes the bank look bad. I said, I don't care what it makes the bank look. I need the money. So you take it or leave it, whatever you want to do. But I'm going to work and binding books. I need a part-time job. And I think I did that for, I don't think a full year, but maybe 6 months or something like that. And then that's when I left the banking. I took a job with this Lake Basin back then, and their initial training period was $54,000 a year for the first, I think, 18 months, and then it went down like 10% every 6 months after that, or something like that. I can't remember, but so in 2005, my salary was $54,000. I had never made that kind of money. I was in hog heaven. I'd never made that kind of money. $54,000, man, we were freaking living large. And then I get a cut of the commissions I generate, and fees and commissions. I always had a fee-based account, so but I did make some commissions too. And I think in 2006 I made like $75,000. It was nuts. And then 2007 I went off salary, all commissions, and then the market started falling apart, and that was trying times, man. And I remember when my wife and I, man, it makes me teary-eyed just thinking, not poor doesn't make me teary-eyed, it just makes me teary-eyed how grateful I am to have found a good woman. Because, look, I don't know what it's like to be married to someone who wants to live riches, but, how can I say this? If you're marrying somebody who's not used to poverty, it's going to be tough and we weren't poor, like poverty-ridden, let's put it that way. We didn't have any money. I mean, but we had a house, we had cars. We weren't poverty-ridden, but we just didn't have any money. It's a little bit different. Poverty and just not having any money. But if you're married to somebody who doesn't have, who's not used to that, and you're trying to establish yourself in whatever business or whatever you're trying to do, and it's gonna be tough, man. And that's for both sides of the equation, husband and wife. I think it'd be a challenge for that person to be able to come to terms with what it's like not to have disposable income, especially if they're coming from a background of having that kind of income. I think it'd be tough because it's tough to say we're just going to eat out at La Casita, once every now and again, and we're going to splurge. There's a pizza place called Sergio's down in Bridgewater, which had the freaking best pizza I've ever had in my life. And I hope they're still there. And they were literally Italian. I think he was first generation. They had the best pizza ever. And again, I think we splurged every Friday night. We splurged. Man, just you look back and it's how difficult it was. And I know it's easy to look back. A lot of people look back in memories and fondly. They're like, oh man, life was good and it's simpler then. Remember how simple life used to be? My mom used to have a print up in our kitchen in Peaks Island, Maine. There'd be this little, like a Raggedy Ann looking girl with a backdrop would be this rolling hills of just a simple life. And it'd say, remember how simple life used to be, and it wasn't simple. But anyway, it's easy to look fondly on your past and forget how trying it was. I think human nature does that a lot, actually. It used to be so much better in the past, and whoa, big light, did y'all see that? And it wasn't so much better in the past. I mean, it might have been, but for Jews in Germany it was so much better in the past in the 1930s than it was in the 1940s. But for most people, other than a freaking insane lunatic like Stalin or Hitler, most people's past were worse than they are now because the luxuries of modern day life are enormous. Especially it's easy to say it's simpler too when you were a kid. Well, you didn't have the worries of being an adult. I like being an adult because being an adult, you get to do whatever the hell you want. I love it. No one to tell me what to do. I love it. I hated not being. I hated being told what to do. Hated it. See that lightning? That's pretty cool. What other YouTube channels are you going to catch that, my friends? Let's keep looking out. Keep looking out for the lightning, so keep watching. I got some red up there. See if we got any other lightning coming up. Looks like some clear on the right-hand side. So when we were first married out in Phoenix, Charlotte, and Maine, I guess it's more of a Q&A. It's more of a tribute to my wife. We moved out to Phoenix in '97, and we got married in '99. In fact, our anniversary, our 20th anniversary, is coming up next week, August 31st, 1999. And we're renting some crappy apartment on Camelback Ave, Camelback Drive, whatever it's called. And we didn't have any money, but just people out of school, no one's got money. I mean, so that's a little bit different. But there's this place called Blue Burrito, and Blue Burrito had the big blue burrito, and and you could get a big blue and a drink for like $5.99 or something like that. And the big blue would fit. We split it up, and you had unlimited chips and salsa. And we didn't have any money, and we'd split the big blue and eat the unlimited chips and salsa and get she loves sweet tea, not like Coke. So I'd get the Coke first, and she could drink the Coke, and then she'd get the sweet tea. We share it, and that's what it was like. We were poor, had no money, but we weren't poverty. We just had no money. If that makes sense. Like, we can't stress the difference. I know y'all got your own stories. I'd love to hear your stories. But anyway, so then we bought this house up in Phoenix, up on a Beardsley. Whoa, y'all saw that, didn't ya? On 101 in Beardsley, and it was actually back then 7th Street in Beardsley, but 101 came as a cross down traffic, and we bought this house with sweat equity, which means we had to paint the outside. We actually had to paint the whole thing, now I think about it, as our down payment from Trend Homes. And I think we paid $100,000 for it or something like that. Well, we didn't pay. I could have used my VA loan, but actually the rates are better not using your VA. Those days are long gone now. The VA has been substantially lower than a conventional mortgage anymore. But anyway, so we did this. We didn't have any money, so we did the sweat equity to buy that house. And then when my wife's mom, I was going to go to law school. I can't remember. We were going to move back to Virginia. I forgot why. Maybe just because we had Maddie. We had our first child. So her mom got sick. I don't remember the story, but off the top of my head, I can't remember the exact reason why we moved back to, there's some outlets right there. We moved back to Virginia, but in 2000, we moved back to Virginia. But before that, so we had Maddie for about 6 months in Arizona. And I'll never forget going to Blue Burrito when it was all 3 of us with the baby food and all that. And at this stage, Charlotte wasn't working. It's just me on my Charles Schwab salary of about $30,000 a year. And at this stage, we had a mortgage, I want to say $800, a couple car payments, student loans, you know what I'm saying? Making $30,000, $35,000 a year or something like that. It's dicey times, man. Dicey times. That wasn't fun. When people say I look back fondly of my past, not me. I'm glad I went through it. I don't look back fondly of it at all. It's stressful. I'll never forget just going to Blue Burrito saying, all right, here we go again. 2 years later, we're still at the Blue Burrito, splitting the big blue. And I think they raised the price to $8.99. It was like, Then we drove up to Denver because I was working at Vanguard, at Schwab. I guess I left Vanguard at Schwab. And I wasn't making any money, and basically the rumors going around that Schwab was going to lay people off because the trading started slowing down towards the end of '99 and 2000, and Schwab was big on trading at that point. Well, anyway, so I took an interview for a job up at CIA Crep up in Denver, and we drove up there. Did we have the baby or she was pregnant? I think we might have. Anyway, we weren't making enough money in the late '99. I'll just put it that way. So we knew we had to do something differently. I can't remember if she already had a baby or not. I don't think she did. So she must have pregged. So we drove up to Denver in the middle of a snowstorm, essentially. Yeah, she was pregnant. Scared the hell out of us driving down those mountains. I took an interview with CIA Crep in downtown Denver, and they were going to they had advertised in Arizona Republic between $35,000 and $42,000 for a phone jockey. And that's what I was doing at Schwab or Vanguard, wherever I was working at that point. It was starting to rain pretty good. Yeah, too bad. I was hoping y'all could see the beauty of the, I guess you can still kind of see it. I'll keep going because got nothing else to do. Well, anyway, so they offered a gig and they said, we'll pay you $37,000. I said, well, what does it take to get $42,000? They said, oh yeah, there we go. Some traffic, great. Got experience to do. I've been doing this for 2 years. Got me Series 6 and 63. I think I even had a 7 by then. I said, what more experience do you need? And I remember I think they bumped me up to 39. I said, I need 42. I mean, that's what I need because that's what you said for people with experience. I said, I already have my licenses. I already got experience. If you're going to pay me, I need 42. And they didn't do it. And then, so it all worked out good, but they didn't do it because they said, no, we didn't. I said, whatever. So basically, you're full of crap. You're not paying people $42,000. And I'm glad I didn't. On top of that, Denver was doggone expensive, too, relative to Phoenix. I'll never forget that. We were looking around those places. Where those Columbine or whatever it's called, the Loveland or something like that. That place where those freaking idiots killed those kids. We're looking at these neighborhoods and we can't. It's like where our house was at would cost like $110. Those houses are going like $174. I was like, dude, we can't afford our house on $33,000 of income. How are we going to afford $174 on 40? You know what I'm saying? It's just crazy. Anyway, the moral of this story, it's just like I was talking to these guys up here in Chattanooga. They had gone through divorce. These are older folks. In 69 and 71, I believe. They had gone through divorce, and the man who's now remarried to each other, just a beautiful couple. He was wiped out in his divorce. His divorce wiped him out in 2000, not that long ago. And yet here he is back. He's back in the saddle again. But the reason was because it's just patience, man. So forever, if any of y'all are out there and you're like, man, I'll never. Scooby guy, I'll never make it. It'll always elude me. I'll never have financial sense of security and whatnot. It's just patience. And I'm not saying you ever will. I don't know. But it's just patience. You just got to hang in there. And I'm not there. I tell you what, right now, I'm not there. But, the only debt I have now is a mortgage. And I can honestly say I never thought I'd even be here. And it's a pretty comforting. I mean, my daughter's got some student loan debt, but she's paying for that. I'm co-signing for it, so I'm probably not paying it. But I don't consider that my debt. I'm not paying for it. I mean, I'm paying the monthly bill right now. But when she gets out of school, heck, I'm not eating that. I'll tell you that right now. She's paying for it. But anyway, you just gotta be patient. You gotta be patient. Hang in there. Now, if you're being patient and you're sitting on your butt freaking playing video games and eating Cheetos all day while you're freaking sniffing powder up your nose, well, it's probably not going to work out for you. But you got to be patient. That's all there is to it, because it doesn't happen overnight. I'm 49 years old, and for the first time in my life, I see a light at the end of the tunnel. And I thank you all. You guys on this channel are really helping me do that. I cannot tell you my gratitude for you all being here and listening to these videos and me yapping and disagreement with me. It's all good. I am truly, truly grateful. I'm humble. And because of that, this is one of the first times in my life I can feel and see the light at the end of the tunnel. It's crazy. And I was making good money when I was at USAA. But the problem is when you're employed as opposed to self-employed, the good money, your salary is a hell of a lot easier to spend than when you're, living, self-employed. You're like, I don't know if the money will be here tomorrow. You see what I'm saying? Because it's only here if I got clients. It's only here if people watch my videos. So essentially, I'm going to pretend like this doesn't really exist, if that makes sense. And you'll pay down debt. You'll save up because you don't know how long that will be there with you. It's crazy. You gotta be patient. A couple things. So on my channel, we're talking. We're not talking. A guy said he would buy the cheapest house, the most affluent neighborhood with the best schools, and allow that house to appreciate in value. I think there's some sense of smartness there, but I disagree to some degree, because what happens is you might be stretch yourself too thin. You're going to buy this house that you might not be able to afford in a neighborhood that's probably beyond your means, just so you can have the neighborhood and hopefully your house will appreciate as the schools continue to be valuable. But that can just as easily turn against you. And I just, in hindsight, living in a smaller home with a mortgage that I could take a second job if I needed to pay the bills. It's so much more relieving. I mean, I cannot stress this enough. If you have a mortgage that is just within your ability to grasp with your job, but it doesn't let you pay down other debt, man, I'm telling you, no matter what the potential appreciation of the home in a good school district could be, it's going to stress you out, man. I tell you, you just got to keep it simple. I just tell you, don't buy in the best school district. I mean, look, if you got the money, by all means do so, but it's not worth it. It's just not worth it. The schools in the best school district are not worth it. I'm telling you, not worth the price you're going to pay for your house. Now, people say, but you can sell your house easier. But remember, there is something called diminishing returns. And what that means is the higher in value you get, the fewer people can afford your home. And then the people who can start, they're going to say, well, that school district is good, but am I really going to get the bang for my buck relative to the cost of the home for that school district I'm getting? And the answer is they might say, no, I'm not. So let me just buy this regular home in a regular neighborhood, and it'll be a whole lot cheaper. And then I don't have to worry about the school district falling apart because I'm not paying a premium for this housing, which is in a fancy school district. I'm telling you, man, that's a big mistake I made. And once you make that mistake, you can't unmake it. That's a problem. Until you move, and you're just at the whim of the appreciation of the home, and you're just hoping that A, you got the cash flow to afford it, and B, that the house appreciates. But it's a stressful environment, man. I'm telling you, it's stressful. I'd encourage you to maybe think twice about that. I would actually just buy regular middle-class neighborhood home and a regular middle-class neighborhood school without trying. I gotta get the best school district, because it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything. The schools in Roswell, the schools in Alfred, the schools in Milton are all the same thing. I'm just telling you right now, it's all the same thing. Some get 9s, some get 6s, some get 7s. It doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is the price of your home. It doesn't matter for your kids, though. So you buy a cheaper house in a school district that has a 6 and a school district that has a 9. So you sell your home for cheaper than a school district that has a 6 and a school district that has a 9 too. Well, what do you do? It's a wash on both sides of the equation. But you don't have to take the time for stressing out how you're going to get that monthly payment because you bought in a 9 school district. I'm just telling you, man. Look, in hindsight, I wish we would have done differently. I would have saved a lot of stress. That's what I do know is I would recommend that for sure. Not to overstretch yourself for sure. I'm not saying you should rent. I'm not convinced renting is the way to go at all. But I'm open for ideas. I just, at the end of the day, when you rent, you always will have a rent. At some point, you have to have 100% equity to avoid rent, to avoid an cash outflow of a pretty significant amount of money. And if you're renting, you're always going to have that significant cash outflow. That's just a fact. Yeah, you won't have property taxes. Yeah, you can be more mobile, but you're going to have that outflow, and that's going to be a big deal because that's your biggest expense, your housing for sure. All right, what else did I want to talk about there? So just when, going back to when we lived in Virginia, in Phoenix. So then we actually ended up selling our home and moving back to Virginia, and we rented for 6 months to get a lay of the land, and that was a pretty smart move on our part. But don't be so quick to buy a house. All right, that's pretty much all I got here today. It seemed like I was getting ready to say something else, and now I forgot what it was. Now we're stuck in the traffic. Hey. All right, guys. Blessings to you all. Don't forget to subscribe, smash. Love to hear your own stories. Being poor is not a curse. It's a blessing. I'm telling you, being poor is a blessing because then you know what it's like, and you don't have the abstract fear of going that route again. And when you're going that route, and I do think a lot of people have this abstract fear of being poor. And frankly, I think some of those people have the abstract fear because they were poor, and they're so adamantly determined never to be back that way that they'll do anything not to have that happen. I don't have that so much. I never really had that where I was like, because I can go work 2 jobs, 3 jobs. Hell, I don't mind doing that. I don't mind calling people on the telephone, raising money for the Communist Party if I got to do it. I'll do whatever I got to do, but I got no pride in that. Like, oh, Josh, you want your neighbors to see you driving a beat-up car? I could care less. Literally could care less. But I'm telling you, man, once you start getting someplace in life with your financial situation. Oh, that's what I was going to say. So I had this, I'll never forget, I was in banking at Old First Union Bank. guess I was 33, something like that. And I was a platform banker selling mutual funds and annuities and banking products. A really good job. Anyone who's going into financial sales, I would encourage you to start in banking for sure. Well, I had these guys, this husband and wife, nicest people ever. They came in and just good people. And they had what to me was a lot of money back then. They had like $275,000 in like IRAs. This guy, I think it was sales, like manufacturing. I mean, some kind of industrial sales of some sort. I can't remember what it was. A real nice guy though. And I'll never forget it. I think he was like 47. I was probably 33. And I'll never forget looking at him and saying, man, I said, we're talking about it because I think he was getting ready to close out his home equity. I can't remember, but we just got to talking, him and his wife. I said, so and they told me, yeah, this is the last of our debt. I said, really? He said, yeah. I said, man, how'd you get there? And I'll never forget, he told me, he goes, it just takes time. It just takes time. And he told me, I never thought I'd be here before 50. That's what he told me. Because I said, man, you got $275,000. You own your home outright. To me, they were rich. And I'll never forget him telling me, he said, it just takes time. But don't, and he didn't tell me this, don't give up. He goes, trust me. Just plug away. It just takes time. And he goes, and I remember him telling me, he goes, I'm shocked where we are today too. Because he goes, look, we're not making that much money. I think between he and his wife making $65,000 a year or something like that. And their house was nice, a regular middle class home in Harrisonburg, Virginia, but nothing fancy. They just, they just plugged away patiently. Takes time. That was 15 years ago now. And so now he's probably 62, getting ready to take Social Security. But they're a little bit. But I just looked up this guy because they're not. They're just nice. And I remember the husband and wife, just the most down to earth people, just down to earth. And I forgot their names. Obviously, I wouldn't say it anyway. But and I thought they'd be all stuck up because you had to make these outbound calls, like Joe Smith. Hey, Joe Smith, this is Josh down at your bank. And you'd just like to do a financial checkup with you. And I'm like, why'd they want a financial checkup with me? If they knew my financial situation and compare their own, they'd think I'm a fool. But they came on down, and that's what it was. We did a financial checkup. Where they came on down. They had home equity line of credit, had nothing on it. I said, you ever going to do anything with it? They go, no, that's just an emergency account for just in case. I said, good. And we just got to talking. They had $275,000 in their IRAs and whatnot. And I said, man, to me, they were rich. And I said, man, I can't tell you how amazed I am and how jealous I am. And I remember the wife too. And she's like, no, trust me, we don't feel rich. But at the end of the day, you got to plug away. They had kids and just good people. And I'm not there. I still have a mortgage, a big fat mortgage. But I'll never forget that. Just patience, my friends. All right, that's all I got. We'll see you next time.